We build on what matters. We build on relationships. We're Home Matters, for people who want more.
This episode was brought to you in part by Ben Heritage, financial, investment, retirement, money management, and planning. And by Angela Barrett at HomeMattersSC.com, building on what matters to you.
Hey guys, I've got Ben Heritage with me again today, our financial advisor, and I'm going to ask you what the difference between money market account and CDs are.
The big difference between them is liquidity. How quickly can you get your hands on the money? So money market instrument is issued as a short-term paper. It is something that typically people understand that is issued at $1 a share. It typically grows at a very small percentage, but it's liquid today. If you go to your bank or you come to a financial advisor and open up a money market account and put that money in, you could take it out tomorrow. With a CD, CDs are usually issued with a time period associated, maybe a 3-month CD or a 6-month CD or a 2-year CD. That is usually where it is occupied in that instrument for that period of time. Can you get to it? Yes, but usually there's some fees involved. So they serve two different purposes. Money market is a great place to park your emergency fund. It's a good place to have tied to your checking account at your bank or tied to a brokerage account that you can link to a bank account. It's probably not going to earn as good of a rate right now as a short-term CD. That changes with rates.
Sure.
Early in my career, in the 90s and early 2000s, it seemed like the standard money market rate was 2%. Like you could just count on your money market earning 2%. It was never guaranteed, but it just was that rate for a long time. Now, if you compare that to CD rates right now, you'd be like, well, why would I want 2% when I can get 4 or 5% of the CD? Different purpose, different need for that money. CDs are FDIC, so Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation, they're guaranteed. Money markets are technically not guaranteed.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people assume a money market account is a glorified savings account, when in theory it could lose money. It doesn't happen often, but it has happened in my lifetime. And could it happen again? Sure. Is it likely? Probably not, but it's not guaranteed. And that is a very big difference between a CD and a money market account. I like both. They're both really good tools to use for certain investors. There are a lot of people who have bought CDs in the last year because they want to park money and not have it at risk in the market. With CDs, there's no market risk.
Right.
You only have that liquidity risk of however long you're going to tie it up in that 3, 6, 9, 12, whatever that time period is.
Right.
So a lot of people really like to guarantee. Like that is a locked in word that I can't use lightly. And Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation, FDIC, a lot of people take a lot of stock in that. I don't. There were some banks that failed in the financial crisis last time that happened. And, FDIC is great, but it may take you 6 months to get that money back in that situation. So it's not all it's cracked up to be.
Right.
But it gives a lot of people a lot of comfort. Bankers would probably get mad at me for saying that.
So a money market account versus your savings, because you said glorified savings. So does that usually yield more in a money market than a savings?
Yes, it does. Right now, if you're earning anything in your checking account, it's not much. And then your savings account may be earning a little bit more than that. And then a money market account. And then a CD.
Gotcha.
The difference is some of that is safe because checking and savings and CD are bank products that have FDIC. A money market is not a bank issued deposit like your checking account CD. It is not guaranteed. Now there may be some out there that are, but most of them are not. It is a short-term investment. It is a very conservative short-term investment and in a good place for, like I said, the emergency fund. I like it for emergency funds because if you have to get to an emergency fund, you need it that day. It's not something you want to wait. Well, I had an emergency. I need that cash in 90 days. No, that's not the point of an emergency. So I have a lot of clients that have money market accounts but it's almost specifically for that emergency fund. Now, the one trick there is I have a lot of people who start talking about like, oh yeah, I've got the emergency fund set up. It's sitting in my money market account. That's good. A lot of them, when they start working with me, will have too much in it and too much cash. I mean, we've all been dealing with inflation lately. If inflation is at 5, 6, 7, 8%, and your money market accounts are earning 2 or 3%, you're not keeping up with inflation. So your cash is going backwards. So emergency funds should only be funded at what is a needed amount or what you're comfortable with, and only that amount, no more. But then money markets are good for that. More so than a CD.
Good. It's funny that we talked about this today because my mom called, and actually she wanted me to call you.
Tell your mom to call me.
No, I did. I told her I would ask you, but there was a deal at the bank, for 8 months for a CD for a certain amount,
An introductory offer.
Right.
Yeah.
Something like that. And wanted to know if that was a good deal. So anyway.
Well, those can be, because we're seeing a lot of those right now. A lot of banks are advertising a rate that you're like, wow, it's such a great rate. Unfortunately, usually it's for new customers or new money coming into the bank, and it's good for 6 months or a year or whatever the term is. But then you're back to where the other rates are. Nothing against banks. I use banks. We all have to have a bank.
Right.
But in my world, the CDs that I have, I can go to any bank out there through my connections. They're brokered CDs. So I've looked at banks today with JP Morgan Chase, Bank of the Ozark, banks out in California, banks in Missouri, banks in New York, banks in Florida. I have access to all of them, because all of those banks eventually are trying to raise money. They give you a CD. They want your money. We get them the money. They pay us 4%. They loan it to somebody else at 6%, and that difference is a spread, and that's how they make money. So the difference between coming to a financial advisor for a CD product versus going to a bank is when you walk into a bank, you just get that bank's products. I have a bigger network to search, same FDIC, same periods of time, better rates.
Right. Yeah, so it's sort of a brokerage in that you can put your hands in different pots.
Yes.
Versus one, be it Bank of America, First Citizens, whatever. They have one pot.
But I will also tell you, I have spent a career telling people not to buy CDs. I have probably this past year, because CD rates have been so good, I've probably put more funds in CDs than I have the previous 20 plus years.
Right.
Because for the longest time, CD rates weren't good.
Right.
We will get back to that, I think. Rates will change. Rates will come down. And we will get back to where CDs maybe aren't an appropriate investment. So this is the ever-changing world of the financial services industry.
Well,
CDs can be good today, but might not be good tomorrow.
And that's kind of why, we've been talking and doing these series. It's important for somebody who's in the everyday know.
Yes.
Unless you've got time to mull that every day and figure out what's what. Most of us work. We have other...
You have other things you're in. Sure.
So it's good to have somebody like you who says, hey, you know what? We need to do something with this money pretty quick.
Well, and I've had this conversation with several clients this year. Hey, I know you've heard me say, let's not look at CDs right now. Now we should be looking at CDs.
Right.
Because this amount of money is your safe, guaranteed money that we need to be protected. And these are really good rates we can't ignore. There will come a time when that changes.
Right. Yeah. Well, again, that's why we have you, so that you can keep us in the loop.
Yes.
Thanks again for calling. Guys, if you've got any questions, please call Ben, and you can ask silly questions like I do.
Or have your mother call me.
That's right. Thanks.
This episode was brought to you in part by Ben Heritage, financial, investment, retirement, money management, and planning. And by Angela Barrett at HomeMattersSC.com, building on what matters to you.